Miss Losana Nagan. Now, Losana needs no introduction because many of you already know her. Losana is a very well-known early childhood educator. She has been sending lots of resources to you. Losana has, I believe, has conducted lots of PDs for teachers as well. And recently, she told me that she's actually connected her students, her classroom, with a classroom in New Zealand. So I thought, wow, what a great way for her students to learn about literacy and numeracy by connecting with students overseas. That is actually a brilliant initiative, and I'm sure Losana will tell us more about it. Just before I hand over to Losana, I would just like to thank people who have been sending us resources. We took a break last week to update, catch up with a lot of things that have been in the backlog. We've been updating resources that people have been sending us. We have, I think most of you would have now got all your certificates. If you are still waiting for a certificate, please just email us. As we've mentioned before, we are all full-time, working full-time. This is something we do after, in addition to our full-time work. So if you're a bit late, please just bear with us, but just send us an email and our team members will grab information from your email and send you your certificates. If you are still waiting for one, we haven't sent one out, please just email us and we will take care of that. So without further ado, I would like to welcome Losana. Losana is, as I said before, she's a well-known educator. She's teaching in Lautoka Methodist in near the Gurmit Center, isn't it, Losana? It's actually my old hometown. So I'm very excited to have Losana join us tonight and talk to you teachers about how she teaches literacy, numeracy, and also how she has connected with a classroom in New Zealand. So I will hand over to you now, Losana. It's over to you. You will have to unmute yourself.
All right.
Over to you.
I'm going to share my screen now, so that right. Can you all see my screen? Okay, great. Yeah, well, good evening, everybody, and I'm happy to be on this platform, sharing something that I really love, teaching year one children and being a teacher of early childhood level. As you can see, I'm 51 years old. I've been teaching for more than 25 years, and most of that 25 years has been spent in the early childhood level. I've taught once in year 3 and a few years in year 2, but I've spent most of my teaching years in year 1, with the year 1 children. I'm originally from Ngau. My father is from Nawaika Mangau, and my mom is from Nambawa Lumbua, Bono level. I'm married with 5 children. My husband is a doctor, Michael Nagan, and I have 5 children who, the eldest, my 2 older children, one of them is doing her 2nd year internship in the Lambasa Hospital. She's a doctor there. And the second, my number 2 is currently doing her 1st year internship in the Lautoka Hospital. My number 3 is doing electrical engineering, and she's currently doing her practical with the VO entertainers in Nandi, and working on her passion, which is lighting and stage lighting and other things to do with entertainment industry. My number 4, Lydia, she's currently a 1st year student with the MBBS program at FNU CWM. And my son, my only son, he is currently a first-year student at FNU doing electrical engineering too. I'm very proud of my children and the focus they have on their education. And I'm very proud of my family too. I've got very good, strong support from all of them, my husband and my children. Right, my primary years were spent in, I attended FSC compound kindergarten when I was very, very little, a long time ago. And then I went to St. Thomas Primary, attended classes 1 to 6 before I moved to Mount St. Mary's and did class 7 and 8 there. So I could sit the 8-year exam and go to St. John's College and be a boarder there. And after my high school at St. John's College, I attended Corpus Christi Teachers College in Suva. And after graduating, my first posting was in Levuka at Marist Convent, where I taught class 2 and class 3 respectively. And then I was transferred to Suva at St. Anne's, which is a girls' school. And it was at St. Anne's that my love for class 1 started, because at St. Anne's, I stayed in class 1 until I moved to St. Thomas Primary in Lautoka and my ex-primary school. And I also concentrated on year 1 teaching there. Working well with, I worked very well with the teachers there. We had a very good team there. In all the schools I've been to, really, I've had a very good working relationship with the teachers, the head teachers, and even the parents. From St. Thomas, I went and spent a few years in Mount St. Mary's, Nandi, and then I came back to Lautoka, and I'm currently teaching Lautoka Methodist School. And I'm still with year 1. And very soon I'll be retiring, but even though I'm about to retire, I'm really into helping other teachers, especially the year 1 teachers who are, especially those who are first timers, those who are struggling in teaching year 1 children. For when I first started teaching, you know, it was really hard, you know, being a student at the Teachers College and then actually going out into the field. It was 2 different things. When you're out in the field, everything, the onus really boils right down to you, the teacher. You've got to make things work for yourself and for the students that are under your care. And you've got to have good relationship with the parents and an excellent relationship with the team that you will be with at whatever school you go to or whatever place that you go and teach in. Teacher classroom interactions with currently in Fiji, we are using a thematic form of curriculum, which covers ECE, the early childhood teachers in kindergarten, year 1 and year 2. And in these 3 levels, we are doing the foundation areas of learning and development. And in these foundation areas of learning and development, there are 6 areas, beginning with language literacy and communication. Language literacy and communication is English, vernacular, and phonics, respectively. For living and learning together, that's where social studies comes in. Then you have learning to know, which covers elementary science and numeracy. Then you have physical development, health and well-being, which is physical education and healthy living. And of course, we cannot leave out scripture and moral development, which is done in all the schools, I believe. And then it covers your moral values and scripture culture and religion. And then the last and not the least is aesthetics, creative, and the arts. Now for aesthetics, creative, and the arts, for me, I believe that with the little ones, this is one very important area, because it is the area where you are tapping into their creative juices, into their imagination, their creative imagination. You are tapping into the way they will relate to the beauty of whatever's around them, you know, aesthetics, being appreciative of the environment, being appreciative of creation, being appreciative of their friendship with others, with their friends, with their classmates, and even with their teachers and with their parents, the way they come to school and talk to us about them. For me, aesthetics, creative, and the arts covers this particular area, because it also gives them the freedom to be themselves, to be themselves, and to show us through art how they see things, how they perceive things, how they see literacy, how they see phonics, how they see social studies, elementary science, numeracy, all these other subjects. This aesthetics, creative, and the arts is the area, or the foundation area of learning and development that that will make them critical thinkers, that will make them children who will be able to deal with problems, deal with things, and create solutions for them. Sometimes you will have children who, you know, they are their own bosses. They'll come and they say, "Oh, Mrs. Nagan, can I do this? I don't want to do that. I want to do this." And I'll tell them, "Yeah, you go ahead and you do it. As long as it makes everyone else around you happy, you do it." Yeah? And for our little ones, we try to keep things at a very basic level. I know it's very hard at times for teachers, especially teachers who have just started with year one. They find it very hard to find the right language to create the activities, to make them want to do more, to make them want to come to school. And I think that through these 6 foundation areas of learning and development, we, the teachers, we can really develop our little children in a wholesome way. And that brings me to literacy and numeracy. Currently in Fiji, we are doing the, I hope everyone in the early childhood level is following the literacy and numeracy rollouts by ACAP and the Australian government. Yeah, they supported this, and they sent people to come and help us teachers to learn more, or look into how we can make literacy and numeracy much better for our children, in terms of getting them to be readers, getting them to be very good at mental arithmetic, and really giving them the skills to read and to know about their numbers and mathematics. In literacy, we've in literacy and numeracy, one thing that we have that we really work on is the child-centered activities. Child-centered doesn't mean you just leave them, you give them stuff and you leave them on their own. That's not child-centered. Child-centered is you, the teacher, you do the demonstration. You show them, you demonstrate whatever concept you want to teach them, whatever problem you want to show them, and how they have to solve it. You, the teacher, you have to demonstrate what they have to do, what materials that you need for those demonstrations. And then you give the materials to them. They can do it in group work, or they can do it with partners, or they can even do it individually. And well, I've seen the change in our children from when I first started teaching. It was more or less like teacher-centered. We are telling them, okay, this is the way you do it. You must do it this way. You must spell it this way. You must write it this way. You must color it this way. But now, and I'm saying because due to this literacy and numeracy rollouts, we have, they do talk record activities where, the teachers demonstrate, and then we get the children to go into their little groups and they do the same things. And you will find that when you give the children things to do on their own, they often they'll start off by making just a lot of noise. They'll be sometimes they fight over the materials, sometimes there's yelling and complaining. This is Nagan, this one is punching me on, this one is saying bad things to me. But throughout all that, and if you are consistent and you keep getting them to do their little group works, keep demonstrating, even if like sometimes there are some children, you cannot just do one demonstration and they'll get it. Yeah? No, there are some children you have to keep demonstrating over and over and over again. The demonstrations don't have to be the same. You can do them in different ways. I mean, we, the teachers, you are innovative, you are resourceful, make use of that. And, make the activities, and try to keep the activities very simple, because I find the simpler your activities are, the better the children will grasp what you are trying to teach them. So that is why I really like our literacy and numeracy rollouts, because the books that were given to us on the literacy rollout, and that's that one, you can see that, and the one for numeracy, which is that one, it's a guide for us teachers. It's got a lot of activities in it, that you hands-on activities that you can use with your little ones. And I find that the more practice we give them with doing all those little group work and solving little problems using manipulatives. Sometimes they'll come and they'll show you, oh, Mrs. Nugget, can I draw? If I put five sticks there and 5 sticks here, can I draw the 5 sticks there and there? That's learning going on. That's learning going on. And from there they'll start. When you tell them, okay, can you put those things together? If you put the 5 sticks and the other 5 sticks together, you put them together, how many will you get? So you are having a lesson going on, just using a normal conversation with your class. Yeah? So these are the things that our little ones are into right now. The class 1 teachers, the class 2 teachers, early childhood teachers, kindergarten teachers, we are using the foundation areas of learning and development, yeah, to make their learning wholesome. And again, like I said, we are doing the numeracy and literacy rollouts, which is inclusive of Jollyphonics, recommended by our ministry. And most of these activities are all hands-on. Okay, so we not only do hands-on in just okay, everybody write this down or copy this writing down. No, it can be hands-on even in the garden. Take them outside. Tell them the names of the flowers that you are planting in your garden, so they know. Okay, when they come and talk, can I pull out some baby roses, or can I get some bush babies? And that's all hands-on learning. Taking them outside, getting them to clean up the environment, so they know that they are part of the bigger picture of keeping the environment clean. Because right now there's so much going on about our Earth, our planet being heating up. There's a lot of terrible climate reactions going on all over the world, and our planet is heating up, and we are seeing terrible climate changes. I mean, our cyclones alone, they're getting worse. So we need to start, teaching our children from as young as kindergarten to keep the environment safe and clean. They have a say in it, and they also can be part of the the climate warriors, climate change warriors. In that, we just teach them to keep the environment clean, pick up the rubbish, put it in the right place, using the 3R. These are the things that we do with our children that can be hands-on teaching. Yeah? And then you have in all schools, they celebrate Library Week, you celebrate Environment Week, you may have an Agriculture Week, we have a Teachers' Day, Children's Day. All these should be celebrated in a way, especially when we have face-to-face learning. Yeah? We celebrate in such a way that, you know, children, they know, okay, this is what we're going to do for this particular celebration. This is how we're going to celebrate Fiji Day. This is how we're going to do Fiji Week. This is what happened in the story about Diwali. You know, these are the things that we can, create, make programs for, so that our children look forward to them and they take part in it. They participate in it very actively. You know, children are children. If you just keep talking, it becomes tedious for them. It becomes boring. But if you give them a couple of things, scissors or plasticine or paint, and you tell, okay, go and do something with that, they will do something with it. Okay, and with our children, yes, when you give them something to do, you have to train them and gear them towards working noise. You know, sometimes they just sitting around talking, shouting, yelling, playing anyhow. It's for us to tell them and direct them. Okay, this is the way you need to do this, children. Okay, let's move out this way. Let's go to the hall this way. You know, teaching them discipline, and discipline, you yourself must have discipline, so that it becomes part of you. It becomes part of your own class training. When you get your children, you're moving out of the classroom. How do we move out of the classroom? How do we listen to the bell? How do we follow the rules of the school? There's so much and so many things that we have to do with our children, so that while they are learning what we need to teach them according to the curriculum, they're also learning other skills that will be for life, life skills. And so these are just some of the things that I thought I would share with all of you teachers. And then this community and parent support. I believe very strongly in working with parents. Throughout my teaching career, I have hardly had any big issues with parents. I've always found that working with their children becomes better for me when I know the parents. You know, I create PDs for them. I have even our class 1 CAPS. We don't wait for the 2nd or 3rd week. We have our CAPS meeting on the very first day of school, because then you get 95 to 100% attendance of parents and guardians, you know, because they are bringing their children for the first time to school, and every parent wants what's best for their children. So our CAPS is always on the first day of school, and on that day, we normally tell the parents, okay, parents, this is what we do in this school. This is our programs. These are our social programs. These are our academic programs, our sports programs. Now, and then we tell the parents what we expect of them. You know, parents, you know, now that your child is coming to school, you've got to be with them 24/7. You've got to, whatever homework they bring home, echo read it to them or sit with them, find time to go over the homework. Don't just sign without checking, because you know that's what happens. There's some of them, they'll just sign the work and the children come to school and there's many mistakes. But you know, we have to encourage the parents to do all that. And on that CAPS day, on that very first day, we tell the parents, okay, this is what we expect of you. And then we also tell them, this is what we expect of your children. You know, they come to school wearing the school uniform on the school days, sports uniform on sports days, proper footwear, having a change in their bags in case they have an accident, toilet training. You know, there are some children who are afraid to go to the toilet, to the washroom. So they just do their business in the classroom because they feel much safer there. So we have to train them. We have to train them and show them that it's safe for them to go to the washroom in the school. And we usually teach them to go with a partner so that they feel safe at all times. And with our children, we tell the parents, you've got to encourage them to eat healthy, exercising. There are some children who just love to stay on their gadgets inside the house all day long. We have to give them give them space to go out and run around in the sun instead of being cooped up inside the house looking at the screen all day. I don't think that will be healthy for them. So we usually talk like that to our parents. We encourage them, this is what we expect of you. This is what we expect of your children. And then we tell the parents, okay, now this is what you should expect of us teachers when you come to the school. If you're not sure about anything, if you have an issue, this is the SOP that you need to follow. This is what you need to, this is a protocol that you need to follow if you have an issue with any of us. But we always do things in such a way that the parents are not put on the defensive. I've seen teachers who when the parents are talking angrily to them, they talk angrily back, and then nothing is resolved. So for us teachers, the best thing is for us to just don't put parents on the defensive. Try to listen to what the issues are. If the issues are too big for us to handle, you have the head teacher there. He or she will always be the last, the person where the buck stops. So I've had parents who have just walked into the classroom and without thought that you are the teacher in there, and they just come in and they come in want to bully another child because that child was bullying their child. Those kind of things do happen. When that happens, teachers, you are the teacher in that classroom. Okay, it's your classroom, it's your class. Those children are under your protection. And when parents come in to make a fuss, and you just have to tell them, okay, can you just please back down? Let's go to the office. Let's go and talk it over with a headmaster or head teacher there. And then you are the teacher. You've got to try and make that parent's anger go away. And it's only with the way you will deal with the parent, the way you will talk to them, the way your attitude, your body language. All those things will help the parent to calm down. Because I know there are some parents who will probably hear something else and they heard the wrong story and they come and want to attack you. Okay, in that case, you just tell the parent, please, let's go to the office. That way you will not create more problems, because remember, the children are watching you. Okay? And for me, I've always found that working with my parents and having a good relationship with them works wonders for the children themselves. This is the way the children will think. Oh, my teacher is my mother or father's friend, and I'm set. I can do my work properly because my teacher knows my mom or my dad. So, and I've had you'll see it in their work. When children are happy, you'll see it in their work. They'll do their work very well. Of course, you'll have children who will make a big fuss because they cannot write on the very first week of school. You'll have children who will be crying because they cannot draw something. What I normally do is I just tell them, okay, can you draw dots? And the child will say, yes, madam, I can draw dots. Okay, I want you to spend the whole day making dots. And you know what? Children, they'll get tired of doing dots. So when they come and tell you, Miss Nagan, I'm finished with the dots, I'm tired, can I do something else? Okay, join the dots. So they go and join the dots. And all the dots gets joined, then they come and say, madam, all the dots are joined. Okay, now you color those things. And then they'll color. They'll do it happily because they know it's something that they can do. Okay. If they cannot do something, they will show you in some way. They'll either yell and shout or cry, or they'll be very, very silent. Yeah, and so it's for us teachers to be very observant of the children that we have in our classrooms. We have parents who are working parents. We also cater to them too, because sometimes working parents really don't have time for their children at home because they have to go to work, they have to, and sometimes they go to work very early and they knock off very late. Yeah? So by the time they come back home, the children are sleeping. So in that instance, it's you, the teacher, you've got to keep encouraging the child that yes, your mommy or daddy is very busy working, okay? And then I've had cases where the children come and says, oh, Mrs. Nagan, my mommy don't want to talk to me because when I go home and sleep, then my mommy comes home. Then, you know, it's us. We have to tell, no, your mommy is working. You have to be patient. One day, so what I usually do is I just tell, okay, draw a nice picture for mommy and you leave it there so that when mommy comes, she will see your drawing. And then you, as a teacher, you will also talk to that working parent and say, okay, see, this is what's happening with your child in school. He or she is feeling left out because you are not spending time with him at home. So in that way, the parent will, sometimes they are frustrated. Yeah? So you can work out with the parent on how, or you can even give a little bit of advice on how that working parent can try to find time with their children. And then that brings me to homeschooling and this pandemic. This pandemic has really disturbed our children's schooling. And right now, I am very afraid for our children because I don't really know how well they are coping with schoolwork. Yeah? Because when we do face-to-face learning, we see them every day, and we get to know who's doing very well in particular areas. Okay? We know who's struggling in a certain area. We know who is having some sort of breakdown because maybe there's a problem at home. It's because they're children. They'll come and they'll tell us. Okay, but now because they're at home, their environment it's all cropped into that little space that they call their home. And for some of them, they have older siblings who are probably bullying them, and they might have neighboring children who who are not allowed to come into their compound because of this coronavirus, this virus that's going around. Yeah, and for us teachers during this time when we give the packages, if we do get to meet the parents, and I'm sure all of you have a page where your parents get to connect with you, and in that page you must keep reassuring the parents and keep encouraging them to get their children to do some work. I had a few mothers that messaged me, they were panicking. Mrs. Nagan, my daughter doesn't want to do any work. She's just playing and running around all day. So I'm telling her, okay, I'll message her back and I say, okay, breathe and just calm down. Don't worry, your child is just being a child, okay? And then I either talk to the child and I just tell them, okay, I don't want you to do everything every day. You just write a few things at a time. Do some writing a day. In that way, your parents will not get all angry with you, and you will be happy. At least you're exercising your hand. Remember, this is the coronavirus time. We have to exercise, so that's the way you can exercise your hand, and then you'll have the parents laughing. At our school, we have the three. I am very fortunate to be with two very good partners, my two co-workers, Mrs. Bao and Master Nepote. And I'm very fortunate to be working with them because they are very supportive of whatever I have been suggesting, and whatever activity we've been doing, we've done together. All our worksheets and our activities, we blend them together, and we've all got our own parents pages, and we also have an all-in-one year one page because of our Zoom session. Yeah? When our Zoom session, we just put a link on that all-in-one page, and the parents can access it from there. So when we first started with Zoom, big thank you to Mr. Navneet Sharma and his team, and to my friend Mrs. Oripali, to Mrs. Kesanai Sarah, Mrs. Sarah Perham of New Zealand. I'm just fortunate to have been on this digital journey with these teachers, and even my children who have been teaching me a lot of stuff about the computer and using my laptop to make it more conducive to my work. That's why I'm just so happy in this lockdown, or during this pandemic for this year 2021. I have learned, I can say that I've come a long way in this digital journey. And with homeschooling, we've just started on our coverage for term 2, because when we had that realignment sent to us, we were still in the process of doing term 1 revision activities, and we decided, okay, we'll do it properly. We want all our children to be doing the work, and we had to find and call all the parents and find out whether they were using the programs and how the children were coping with it. And then from there we gauged, okay, now after we've done 10 packages for term 1 revision, let's slowly introduce term 2. So we had just package 11 was just a highlight of all the term 1 concepts and learning topics. And then in package 12 we had an assessment done, and then package 13 is the start of our term 2 coverage. Yeah, and before we sent it out, we called all our parents again and told them, okay, please parents, this package, it's very important. We have done it in such a way that you can you use it. There's only 5 steps that you need to follow. Number 1, you just use the teaching points that are given there to discuss with your child. Number 2, listen to what your child has to share about that particular subject. Step 3 is to explain whatever instructions they need to follow for an activity for that subject. And step 4, get your children to do the activity. And then step 5, don't forget to praise them for their efforts. So in all of our subjects, these are just these 5 steps that all the parents have to follow. And we've posted the videos and links on our all-in-one page so that the parents can access it to help them with teaching whatever subject topics and concepts that we have put on our activity 13. And we did have a briefing today with our head teacher who kindly allowed us to make our package with 2 weeks. So our package 13 really is package 13-14. So it'll go for 2 weeks. It'll give parents time to go slowly over the teaching points and the things that they need to teach their children using the package. Yeah? And then they'll bring it back to us, and we will mark it for them and see how well they did. In this way, homeschooling for me is not just the parents doing everything. It's a partnership. It's a partnership between 3 people. That's you, the teacher, the parent, and the child. Yeah? So if it's done well, if you support each other, then I know those children will, at least when they come back to school, they will transit properly into the next level. Which also brings us to our Zoom sessions. We've decided to have only 1 session per week. That is every Friday at 2 o'clock. And it's only on phonics, because we thought that since this lockdown for the children will go on, school will probably open next year for them. So we want to get them ready with reading, so that when they come back, at least they should be reading when they come back. And because reading is needed in all subjects. So our Zoom sessions are just to do with explicit phonics, and that's Jolly Phonics. So far we've done group 1, letters SAT, IPM, and group 2, last week we did group 2, CKEHRMD, and tomorrow we will be doing the next group of letters, GOULFB. And in the sessions, if you sort of in our session, you'll notice that these are class 1 children. There'll be a lot of noise. In the first 2 Zoom sessions, I was telling the children mute, mute, mute. And then when I played our recording back, I realized, no, I'm wasting time telling them to mute. So now I only say mute right at the beginning. If they don't mute, then that's okay. Because at least in the recording, when I played back, I can hear them actually sounding out, calling up the names of the sounds of the letters that I'm writing on the whiteboard. And it's exciting, you know, it's exciting to hear them. I'll write some words and I'll tell, okay, sound this out, come on, sound it out, and they'll sound it out and they'll read it. In the beginning of each session, I just tell, okay, get your pencil and paper ready. I'm going to make the sound. You write down what it means. So I'll say, S, and they wrote letter S. I'll say, eh, and I'll do the action, you know. And when I do that, they know straight away it's eh, and they'll write the letter for eh, the grapheme for eh. So it's a lot of work on our part as teachers and as educators. We have to be fully prepared. We have to keep reading up on a lot of these things that can help us with our teaching. Yeah? And I found that helping our parents will help will help them to help their children. Yeah? So I encourage them to come on the Zoom with us so that they can see and hear the way I'm doing explicit phonics. And tomorrow we are happy to have with us. Tomorrow we'll be having the Year 1 children of Loreto Primary, that's in Levuka. We have a student from Suva, Year 1 student. We have a couple of our Year 2 students whose parents requested if they can come on because they feel that they need some help with reading. We have some students coming from Tailevu, I think, and they're all going to join us tomorrow. And I've told our parents, parents, please bear with us because we are all still in the learning process. Yeah? As I've said to the teachers of those children who will be coming on with us tomorrow, I've just told them, yes, this is all new too for us, but do come on and join with us. And that's the thing with Zoom. I find that it's interesting because you can get children from it's a virtual classroom. Eh? You can get children from anywhere in the world to join you, and which brings me to connecting with New Zealand. Okay, it's not really a classroom that you are connecting with, but it's a teacher that we are connecting with, because actually they've been Mrs. Kesanai Sarah in China and Miss Sarah Perham in New Zealand. They were showing me and sort of, because I wanted to be upgraded on this digital platform, digital literacy, and then to improve my teaching where children are where children become independent learners. Yeah, become independent learners. And something I learned from these two marvelous ladies was that the art of visible thinking, making our children's thinking visible. Whoa. And I'm hoping to get them to come and tell you, teachers, about visible thinking and critical thinking, and getting children to have their own living walls. Before where we are always we had word walls. Now we are concentrating. We are developing sound walls now. Okay, I'm sure some of you teachers have been reading about the science of reading, and I've been reading up on it, and they've said, just out with the word wall, in with the sound wall. And it does make sense when you teach children, to read using the sounds, because then the sounds which are phonemes, and they connect it to the letters or clusters of letters, which are the graphemes. Okay, and if they can connect the two on their own, they've already started reading. So that is why I've told our parents that our Zoom is only for phonics, to help them help their children, and also for us, the teachers, to see how the children are responding to explicit teaching. Yeah. So with connecting with the New Zealand, our children have been having Zoom sessions on Friday evenings, and at the moment they've been doing Zoom bee-zooming. That topic was, it's unit of inquiry, and the topic was bees. Oh, our children really enjoy, and even the parents who have come on the bee-zooming sessions, they are really they've really, you know, they started off by being very silent in the first bee Zoom. And then now gradually they're starting to come out with questions. They ask so many questions to Bu Sarah. They have to call her Bu Sarah. And the questions are very intelligent questions like, okay, what is royal jelly? Why does a queen bee have to lie down and make so many babies? Where does she get her exercising from? What does she have to do and to become a queen? Things like that. You know, these children are asking questions like that. And where can we get the bees from? What is the beeswax for? Can we use it for other things? These are the things that the children ask, because the unit of inquiry is using slides, beautiful, colorful slides that show the children, you know, the bees, the beehive, all the different types of bees. You know, I didn't even know that bees have tongues. I found out in that session that bees have tongues, and many other things about the bees. And then she connected the bees to their parliament, yeah, because it's a hive. And then the children are learning so much about beekeeping in New Zealand and what the importance and the health benefits of honey, and you know, and the importance of having bees around. So these are just this is how they have been connecting with my lecturer in New Zealand, and I'm just so grateful to her for giving our children that opportunity, yeah, to get another method of learning, yeah, using the unit of inquiry. And for us, like Bu Sarah told me, here in Fiji, what connects us all? It's food. Go to the market, take pictures, teachers, take pictures, use those pictures in your lessons. They're colorful, and there are things that children can relate to. And she's very true. So these are just some of the things that we at Lotaka Methodist are doing. Yeah. And just with our Zoom sessions, teachers, for those of you who some of you are probably experts at it, much better than I am at Zooming. And some of you, like with the last in the last one, I think Mrs. Navneet, she mentioned something that it really caught my attention, and we started that with our Zooms on Fridays. We have a little theme, and last Friday we had a mellow yellow Zoom, and all the kids came on in their yellow, and we the teachers too came on with something yellow. And we asked them, okay, what color do you want to celebrate next Friday? They all said green. So tomorrow we are going to celebrate green, and it's our Go Green, our Zoom session with the children and with our visitors from the other schools. So thank you to Mrs. Navneet for that idea. It's taken root in our Zoom sessions. Our children look forward to our Zoom sessions, and it's always lively. And I just like it when I hear them making, you know, giving me the sounds, or showing me the letters that they've written because I've given them the sound. Eh? And then we go over, I write words, and they're actually sounding them out, blending them, and reading them. You know, that's a big achievement for them, eh? Because if they are not in the mood for it, then they'll probably get bored and leave the Zoom classes. But we've had a very good response. Eh? Although sadly, not all parents can come on our Zoom, you know, because of financial constraints. Some parents don't have the gadget. Some parents have older siblings who need to use the gadget at that time, which is why we decided we'll just stick to our one Zoom per week, so that parents are working parents, they have to use their phones. Sometimes they cannot get connectivity, and most of them have older children who are doing Zoom every day. Eh? So we don't want to add to that burden with our Zooming. I think that's and the last part is from here, where, okay, from here, from this pandemic, next year, what's going to happen? You know? I think there's only one little message that I would have for all teachers everywhere. And that's that, you know, no matter what, everything boils right down to you. You are the teacher in the classroom. You are the teacher for that particular child. Okay, you are the teacher in a school of awesome teachers. Okay, I'm from Lautoka Methodist, and I work with a group of awesome teachers. You know, we are always there for each other. And I know teachers in other schools, you are there for each other too. Our head teacher is always there for us. And you know, that's just what I just wanted to leave everyone with, you know. It all boils down to you. You are the person that's teaching. You are the person that's going to get creative. You are the person that's going to look on the internet or look on Pinterest or go to your relatives or go to town, look for something innovative that you can use in a simple way, so that your children are getting the best of what you have to offer. I think that's it. Are there any questions, Mr. Navneet?
I think before I open the floor to you know, comments from teachers who are here tonight, I was just gonna say, wow, I'm just blown away by the sorts of things that you're doing, Losana. I was just thinking, you know, how much things have changed from the time that I was a student in primary school, and you know, from those days to what sorts of things that you are doing now is just incredible, just phenomenal how you are doing things with your year one. You know, you keep saying that you are, I think you put yourself quite down when you say about Zoom. I think you're actually a much better expert on Zoom than a lot of us are now. You know, I think you've not only learned Zoom in the last few months, but the fact that you are now using Zoom and students from Tai Levu and Levuka are now joining your classes using Zoom, and you are connecting with you know, people, teachers in New Zealand. It's just amazing. You just not only you just learned these skills, you're actually using it to make a huge difference and impact to students around Fiji. You know, students who are joining your classes, like, you know, it's just amazing, just incredible.
Thank you.
Yeah, we'll get some feedback. We'll get some people. You know, you can unmute your mic, and we'll open the floor to people. If anyone wants to ask anything of Miss Nagan, or just want to make an observation. I just wish you were my primary school teacher, Losana, for lots of reasons, but the one in particular is about, till this day, I don't know how to draw. I wish someone taught me that you can use dots to draw. I wish someone had told me that. Is there anyone who want to make any observation, any comments, any questions? I see there's a comment there from Nirmala. Nirmala, did you want to unmute your mic and maybe Nirmala Devi? Was there anything in particular that you thought that you wanted to say? No?
Hi, Losana. Sorry.
Thank you. Very informative and motivational ideas from Losina Nagan about the dots, drawing dots, and then join the dots and coloring. This is a very great idea, which we have learned.
Yeah, on the first day of on their first day, you know, it's a very new environment for them. And for some of them, especially if they are used
Yes,
to
it's
just
very
being
informative.
on their own at home. True. When they come to school, everything is new. For some, they just, it's very hard for them to show, you know, what they know. Eh? And when they see other children are drawing casually and writing casually, you know, it puts them in a spot. So they'll just, they'll sit there and they won't do anything. You'll have the ones who will just sit there and refuse to do anything. So I usually tell them, okay, when you're ready, then you come back to me. and that doctor work, it works. It's worked. I've used them for years and years. And you know, within the next week, by the second week, that child who was crying because he couldn't write or draw, they're happily drawing and writing. Yeah, it's us teachers. Eh? We have to put them at ease on that first day. Okay? That first day, that's their first impression of you. So if you are grumpy on that first day, you need to throw that grumpiness out the door before you enter the classroom, so that the children, they look at you, they know, oh, this is my friend, you know. And there are children who are very demonstrative. You know, they'll come. They'll sometimes, when I come to the classroom, for example, if I'm absent one day and I come the next day, I have to tell them, wait, don't come, because they'll all run. Yeah. And if they all run and dive on me, I'll fall to the ground. But you know, children and the way they are, it depends on you, the teacher.
That's so true, Losana. You've covered lots of things tonight, and one of the things that you mentioned was about the involvement of parents and you know, dealing with the difficult parents. It is part of our, you know, something as teachers we have to deal with, where we have to deal with all kinds of parents. And you know, some parents can be difficult, and one suggestion, one hint, if I can offer, is if you know that there's a parent who's come to see you, and if you know that that parent's being difficult, challenging situation, here's a little trick that might work. Never speak to a parent who's angry standing up. If you know that there's a parent is upset, rightly or wrongly, the first thing I think you should do is invite the parent and get them to sit down with you. There's some, I'm not sure what it is, but psychologically there's something that you are winning when you get your parent to come and sit first before you have a conversation. Never talk to a parent who is in a bad mood with both of you standing up. Invite the parent in, let them sit down, offer them sit down, and you sit down. There's something about it when you're sitting down, your anger, part of that anger evaporates. There's something that psychologically works. Never talk to a difficult parent when you're both standing up. That's a little trick for me.
It's a good one.
There was a hand going up before. Taina Tulele.
Yes, Mr. Sharma, thank you.
Go on, Taina.
Yes, Mr. Sharma. So I'm an ECE teacher. Can you hear me?
Taina?
Okay. I'm an ECE teacher, and
We'll come
I'd really
to Taina later. Taina.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Oh, thank you. I'd like to thank you. Yes, I'd like to thank you for the very.
I earlier on I wrote in the chat. I'm just in awe with the. Can you hear me? Hang on, I think. Oh, okay. Yeah. I was saying earlier on in the chat, I had said I'm just in awe with what Losana has been saying, and I have made so many mental notes. as to what I'll be doing differently in my class now. It's just amazing. I have learned so much from you as well. And everybody mentioned about the word wall. Now, I remember in my school, our classrooms were full of words, which other kids didn't know it existed and didn't know how to read. And as you said, we got rid of it, and now our word wall is off and our sound wall is up, which has benefited students a lot. We use a sound waves program. So we use, so we have got all these charts up, which is just basically sound and no longer words, which half the time kids didn't even know what they were. So now I just thank you for such a wonderful presentation. And as I said, I've made so many notes which I will be using in my class from now in terms of how handling with parents and, just putting, just telling parents what your expectations are on the first day. I think, I totally agree. It's so important so that the ground rules are set and parents know what you expect from them, and you know what parents should expect from you as us as teachers. So thank you so much for all those wonderful ideas.
Well, you're great. You're using the sound wall, and from the sound wall, because once the children become used to those sound walls, they become explicit learners, and they can decode words. So what you need to do after that is just put up a newsprint and turn it into a living wall. Now, living wall is this. The children, they pick up words that they can read and they know, and they'll come and write it on the living wall. And so that wall gets to be, they add to it. And it's the children who are writing the words because they can read it. So they read one word and then somebody else will come and say, oh, I know a word that sounds just like that one, and they write it too. So your living wall is alive, but the children keep it alive. Yeah.
Yes. Oh, thank you for that.
Taina, did you want to try again? Taina?
Yes, thank you. I'd like to thank you, Ms. Losana, Madam, for your presentation. It was very informative. I'm a kindergarten teacher, and some of the points that I've noted down being child-centered there. You said that, from what I have experienced, is that usually teachers would just give whatever activities to the children and then just expect them to have it done by themselves. But then you said that we need to think of other children also, and then we have to demonstrate how it is to be done 2 to 3 times, which is something I also have to share with my 2 colleagues in school. Also, like your idea on the CAPS, having a CAPS meeting on the first week. This is something else that I have also seen in our primary school, is that usually and also in our kindergarten, there's a low turnout when we have it on the 2nd and 3rd week, because usually in the first week is when the parents take their leave. So that's very true. It's a very good idea to have it in the first week. I'd just like to make a humble request. Can I join one of your Zoom classes, or maybe the one tomorrow?
Yeah, then just message me and I'll send you the link.
Thank you very much. There's something else about
I think you've got muted, Losana.
No.
About the literacy and numeracy rollout. I just need a bit more, because I'm not aware of this, and neither are my colleagues. Can I just get in touch with you on how I can get information on this?
Yeah, sure. Right now, kindergartens are not using the literacy and numeracy rollout. You are in fact using Nanda Mataniviva.
Right. Yes. Yeah. Oh, I see. Okay. All right. Right. Thank you.
Yeah, it's flexible because you can create your own program around your own geographical area too. So
Yeah.
that's the difference. Yeah.
Oh.
Literacy and numeracy rollout started with year 1 and year 2.
Oh, okay. All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Taina mentioned, and something that you mentioned as well about child-centered learning, Losana. I just want to make a little comment on that as well. There seems to be a bit of a misconception among teachers what child-centered learning is. Child-centered learning doesn't mean zero teacher involvement.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean you give the work and then the kids are going to do it themselves. That's not what child-centered learning means. Child-centered learning, it still means that the teacher is still the facilitator. It doesn't mean you give the work and let the kids do it themselves. I mean, if child-centered learning was that, then they should be doing all fine at home right now without teachers. Child-centered does not mean zero teachers.
Yeah.
Otherwise, that's what they're doing right now. And we all know that we all have our own concerns about what's happening at home right now. Child-centered actually means the teacher is still the facilitator.
Yep.
And there was a term that doesn't get used a lot more these days, but when we were doing education, we were hearing a lot more about the word was discovery learning. Encourage discovery learning. Now, there's a danger in just leaving the students to discover themselves.
Yeah.
The danger is that they might discover something totally wrong. The students may learn a totally wrong concept.
Yes, and
The better word nowadays is to use the word it's guided discovery rather than an open discovery learning.
Yep.
As teachers, we still need to guide students to discover their learning. So I think that was a good point Diana raised, and I thought when we were talking about I'll just mention that as well. Yeah, child-centered learning still requires the teacher to be the facilitator to guide the discovery, rather than an open slate discovery. The students could discover, we don't know what they'll discover in terms and construct their learning. It's really good that you're involving teachers on their the parents on the first day. That's something that happens here in Melbourne here. We at the starting of the year, even in secondary school, we have parents information night. No matter what level they are in, there's an evening that is held for parents to come in, and everything that you've just said there before, you give your expectations of of the child. They're supposed to do whatever, I don't know, 30 minutes or 1 hour of homework. So all of those things are explained. Some schools here also, is what you did saying before, Losana, is you get the parents to sign. If you give a homework for this evening, let the students get the parents to sign off after they've done the work. And I remember when I first came here, in my first school that I taught here, the school made us, it mandated us to actually go and check the parents' signature if they were there or not. If the parents did not sign their homework, we had to ring home and ask the parents, have you checked the work? Or it was along something those lines. But yeah, getting parents to check the work and sign it off, it's actually a brilliant idea. And I'm just glad that you are using that. The other thing you mentioned was about visible learning. Your colleagues in China and New Zealand have been telling you, we are more than happy if you can get us in touch with them. And if they can, visible learning in itself is quite a fascinating field of education. The visible learning network actually started in Melbourne. It's visible learning is started off by Professor John Hattie, who's at Melbourne University. And it's a very big here in our schools as well, using all the techniques of making learning visible. And I'm sure at some point we will have a webinar session on this, maybe early next year, about visible learning in itself. But if your colleagues are happy to maybe come and do a presentation next year sometime, we'll be more than happy for them to do this as well. Any other comments, feedback, observations? I'm glad, Taina, you can join Losana's Zoom session tomorrow.
There's also one thing that we teach our
Anyone
children.
else?